All right. Well, welcome to another episode of our Create the Ripple podcast. I am your host, Candice Smiley, and I am really feeling very blessed today. My first guest of recordings today was a previous guest on the first take I did on this particular podcast. We had an incredible day. We shared a lot of things. I was going through a lot at that particular time, and she showed up and offered just a great perspective, heart to heart, woman to woman, and it was an incredible day. And so it's an absolute joy for me that she's back with us again. It's been a while since we have had a chance to connect, and so I'm eager to connect and reconnect and have you listen in as we share the story. So without any further ado, I would love for you to share who you are and what you're about these days and where we're going, and then I've got some questions for you.
Okay. Well, I am Dr. Sarah Williams. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and I'm board certified. I have credentialing and a certification in grief, stress, and trauma. I work primarily with women as we work through the trials of life and trying to get through this and overcome. I am passionate about mental health and mental health awareness. Therefore, I'm the founder, creator, and host of the Dr. Sarah After Dark television show. And with that, I have the opportunity to talk to others about their mental health experience as a way of highlighting and spotlighting what we encounter when we overcome mental health and the challenges that go along with that. I am also a network contributor to CBS affiliated networks. So I offer mental health expertise to television, media, podcasts, and radio. And of all of that, I am the proud mama of 15-year-old twins.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I remember last time we had a chance to chat, I had just gone through a significant breakup. I don't even think I had like announced.
Uh,
And I was still being so careful and cautious about it. I think mostly to guard my own, heart and healing. And so then to have had the chance to chat with you, we really just got a chance to share. I think we also shared a lot of laughs because, we were like, where are the good men and where do we go from here? And oh my goodness,
yeah,
it was a pretty wonderful day. So we'll have to make sure we put a link to that in the show notes. People can go check us out. I think we both had
yeah,
longer hair at the time, which was also kind of fun. Change is good, as we've been talking about.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
well, and we just actually finished. So a big deal for me, certainly born out of the changes that COVID and the pandemic really brought into my own life, was starting the publication, which up until this last month was a monthly publication. We've now shifted to a quarterly publication, largely because we went from supporting entrepreneurs to get their ideas and their businesses out there to more of an influencer magazine. So we're talking still to entrepreneurs, but also business owners and just people in our community who are focused on issues that matter. So it's been a really interesting growth, which, I think for anybody who's an entrepreneur, you start something and then it sort of takes on a life of its own. Um, and this last couple of issues, March was about men's issues and mental wellness. So we tackled, um, you know, those sorts of things. And then this last edition that we're launching in May, so like a day here, is all about women and some of those challenges. And it was really interesting. Not always easy. The topics of the people that we connect
Yeah.
with, especially right now with the pandemic, it's having a huge impact. Ongoing. I think the ongoing piece has been exceptionally challenging, and I know that you've experienced some challenges as well. But I think, like a lot of us, myself included, it's been an opportunity for us to really look at what do we want, where are we going, what does that look like. I know that for me, even though I've resisted a lot of the change, and it hasn't all been positive, um, it's also been powerful, I think, because I feel like I've let go of a lot that was very frivolous and maybe not maybe distracting, I guess. I tend to be fairly distracted, but I think that's because I'm interested in so many different things, and the world's an interesting place. So I'd love to hear some of your feedback, because I know we were talking before I hit record on the show, some of the changes that you've
Yeah.
experienced.
Yes, I think for the most part, the fact that I am a now survivor of coronavirus, it was frightening. It was, I think, the closest I've ever felt to the possibility of not having life.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, I made significant changes. So the changes are actually deeper than my hair, that there was a internal shift. To tell you a little bit about the story, um, of course, you know, I have two children.
Mm-hmm.
So my son was exposed to coronavirus and developed symptoms in January, mid-January. And
Mm-hmm.
few days later, I was also exposed because he had the virus. So we both were significantly impacted. We were very ill. He has asthma, and I have underlying health conditions, and he was very sick. And I had a very difficult time with not being able to take care of my child, because as a mother, we naturally want to, if our child is hurt, if our child is afraid, if our child is sick, then we want to reach out and help them.
Mm-hmm.
So the vulnerability and the helplessness I felt, along with the terror of the possibility of not living and not being able to be here and watch them continue to grow up and see my grandchildren, and God forbid something happened to my son. Um, my daughter was the only one in the house that was not um, infected with coronavirus, so she had to take care of me and my son. And there were times that I would ask her to go to his room to check on him because I was too weak to get up. And when you have coronavirus, you kind of have to stay isolated in a certain area. So the vulnerability, the fear, along with the illness, it actually gave me an opportunity to really reflect and think about what my life was, what's important, and to whom I need to offer my time. You find a way to develop value in relationships, and it's not always based on longevity or based on bloodline. It's based on who's there for you in those dark times. And I will really say honestly that there were angels that showed up in my life during that time. And these were folks, some of them I had only known this year in 2021, that were really there for me. And it actually overshadowed the loss that I felt in individuals that had known me my entire life that decided to not be present. And even though it hurts to think that someone that has known you your entire life could possibly be negligent during such a difficult time, it was a way for me to really understand what a relationship is. What does that mean? What defines a relationship? We oftentimes think it's because we're related, or we've known this person since forever, from middle school, and we grew up together. Not so. Um, it's based on that genuine care factor, that the human experience that connects with you and doesn't require anything of you. So when I was there in that vulnerable state, and I couldn't do anything for anyone because I'm a giver, most of the time I'm the one that's taking care of other folks as a helping, healing professional. I'm the one that's always there for someone else. Now I need help. And the folks that showed up when I couldn't give anything, that was the signal. And that was life changing for me.
That's significant. And I think it's interesting because I often in like previous days, the recordings, stuff like this, the conversations I have, they almost seem synergistic. And I was talking with a gal who said similar things over this past year, that people who had been in her life for years didn't show up when they needed to show up for one reason or another, usually through a grief or through an illness like you experienced, and the impact that that had. And for her, for myself, and clearly for you, that brought about a significant change, and allowed space for that, which is not easy. I know in my own experience, I was like, wow, right? Um, it's
Mhm.
very interesting. There's those people who show up when they have nothing to gain.
Nothing to gain. Exactly. There is nothing to gain. I could not offer anything. And also, I had to learn how to be in a position to receive help.
Mhm.
I'm not good at that. I am not very good at receiving. First of all, I'm not going to ask.
Mhm.
It's really hard for me to say I need. And I would have genuinely sweet um, folks that would text me or call and say, "What do you need?" And I'm like, um, uh, well, I could use some groceries. And it was like, make a little note, like, okay, make sure you send a thank you card or make sure you send something. It's like I've got to pay you. And that's not really the way it's designed. When we do things for other people, it actually takes away from the synergy of that if you receive also. My neighbors, they were so thoughtful and sweet, and they genuinely would do favors for us during that time. And I would always text, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And my neighbor was like, would you please stop thanking us? That's what neighbors do.
Yeah.
And I said, I thought about it. I said, yeah, that is kind of like how it should be. But I have been in so many relationships and situations that I didn't have that. I don't know what that feels like for someone to do something for me and not expect anything, or it's not based on some set of variables or standards or conditional. I grew up with conditional love. If you behave or if you do what I think you should do, then I might love you. That was my reality. And it became quite prevalent in our illness. And it was hurtful for me, but more so as a mother to see my child be ignored.
Mhm.
Like, what did he do?
Mhm.
So conditions on love is so hurtful and so damaging emotionally if you allow it. So that actually helped me to appreciate and value those individuals that really stood up in that moment. And I'm grateful for it. It was painful time, but I'm so grateful for it.
Are you looking for a simple, easy weight management solution? I thought you might be. I know I was. I also wasn't interested in something with a ton of gimmick without any science behind it, which I know a ton of companies have. The company I'm about to share with you actually has 12 of their own clinical studies. And for me, with my science-based background, I needed to know that. I also needed to know the product worked. And so I was introduced to the group that, however, had 125,000 members in it, all supporting amazing stories of weight management, weight loss, hair regrowth. Oh my gosh. Not surprising though, considering the product itself has won numerous awards in and out of the nutraceutical industry, which I think is pretty incredible. Pretty exciting as well is the fact that it's made with their patented technology, 7 international patents on the collagen in this product, made entirely from chicken sternum. Chicken sternum, why? Because it most closely mimics the collagen that our own bodies create. Now, I'm a 36-plus-year-old woman, and so making sure that I'm maintaining and taking care of and trying to reverse the clock so I can age gracefully is super important to me. Making sure I'm taking products that are safe, making sure I'm taking products that are approved, and making sure I'm taking products that I would be happy to share because there's integrity at the top. So this company is a values-based company, which I absolutely love. Not only do I love that, but I love the flavors. This is mango. Mango's my favorite. This is from the Modere company, which you've heard me talk about before. One simple spoonful a day. In the morning, I can add it to my coffee if I feel like it. I don't add the mango, I add the vanilla to my coffee. But I can add a simple spoonful to my day. It tastes awesome. It tastes amazing. And it's helping my body to maintain the figure that I've worked to get to. Why not? Now, if you're looking for some weight management, this is going to help curb appetite. It's going to help your body to function as best. And we know that when you do something like that and you make wiser choices, your body says thank you. This is part of an entire system called the Lean Body System. I will make sure to post information for that below, or you're welcome to scan the QR code, which I know is going to be somewhere in the screen if you're watching this on YouTube. If not, head over to modere.ca. That's MODERE, modere.ca, or modere.com, and use code 5579027. Again, 5579027 to save $10 on your next order, regardless of what you put in your cart. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the listen.
One of the interesting things for me as I was going through my grief last summer was I'd had a friend who was also going through a time of grief in her life, and she didn't feel like she had anything to give, but she was willing to come and sit and be with me. And I think it was the first time in my life where I had been around someone who was dealing with her own grief as I was dealing with mine. And we weren't trying to fix the other one or lighten the load or even encourage the other one to talk. We were just sort of there in our own pain. And it was a very significant moment because I said to her, I'm like, I don't know if I've ever sat with anybody in grief. Like I've gone and sat with people for a moment in their grief, but just to go and sit and be. And there was no agenda, there was no whatever. It was just, we were just present with that. And, you know, did it bring any significant healing? Oh, probably on some level. But I remember thinking, the next time someone I know is in a moment of grief, I'm just gonna go and like clear the schedule and be like, I'm just gonna be here. That's it. And the impact of that, of not trying to be fixed, right? And who, who made the trek, like you said, and who didn't. Because there were some people who, without question, cleared their schedules and drove the hour and a bit to come and see me and just hang out. And other people who were like, you doing okay? And then left it. I was like, no, not doing okay. But like you, I'm also not very good at saying to people, no, I'm not good. I'm really not good. And I can remember a moment when the grief felt overwhelming. And I had to almost acknowledge to myself, this is going to change me. And there was almost sort of an allowing that I had to say, okay, and if it does, I'm going to let it. And I think that was when, for me, a lot of the healing started, when I sort of said, all right, I'm going to let this change me rather than resisting the change. That sort of radical allowing. I don't like it, don't have to like it, but there's an acceptance piece that I think I needed to find a piece on the other side.
Yes. And the more we allow that invitation for healing that doesn't require any kind of action behind it, it's just the being. Just be. Just being in a moment, the presence of it, that natural connection that human beings share, that I affirm you and I'm here. Sometimes just as simple as sitting and allowing a person to put their hand on your shoulder or rest on your back. No words, because for me, there was always expectations. I always felt that then I have to make them feel better that I'm okay. I have to not let them think that I'm falling apart, because then that might make them more sad or upset. Rather, allowing myself to say, I'm really scared. I'm super disappointed. I am angry at my grief. I Grief is ugly. There's nothing pretty about it. And I recall one of my first writings on grief that was published in the Mighty, it was plastic smiles and looking pretty. And that's what it was a plastic smile. I knew how to do that quite well. And in that behavior and that covering up, and I was not allowing myself to be exposed or be vulnerable, and that way I couldn't heal. I couldn't get past the grief. I was stuck, because you give the impression that you're okay. And I got away with it for a while. And then I couldn't hide it anymore.
For me, it started to, it sort of eats you out from the inside. Like there's,
Yes.
that whole living not as you actually are. And I think this was something I started years ago, attempting to, be in the moment, but not really able to move through it. And I think one of the biggest gifts of last year was just being able to say, I'm not okay. Today's not a good day. And that's okay. And learning to reschedule and set, time and priorities for myself, which I didn't realize until last year how much in a scarcity mindset I was living in, that there wasn't enough space for me to do the healing work I knew I needed to do. There wasn't enough time in the day to make the connections or have the relationships I wanted. It was never enough. And then I got hit with this grief and literally could barely get out of bed any day. And, the world continued. And it was very simple to go, I don't want to do this anymore. And to just simply email it without an explanation. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm making a different change in my life. I'm going to prioritize my health. I'm going to prioritize my family. And I think I was afraid of that for the same reason that a lot of people are. And one of them was someone immediately said, well, it's good that you prioritize that. And, my wife had done that. And the energy was, hopefully there'll still be a career for you afterwards. And I thought, no, that's not the point. The point is, I'm not even sure if what I was doing before was what I wanted to be doing. In fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. In fact, I think I got here one small decision along the way because I was doing what I was supposed to be doing or what I thought I should be doing, rather than saying, I don't want to do any of that. I want to do
I don't want to. Right.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huge gift of last year to just say,
Yeah.
no more, no more, no more. But since then, I mean, you've shifted and changed it up and you've got some new focus. You've got, you're more settled, I guess, in where you're headed. So I guess, where are you headed now? How has that impacted, what you're going to be creating into the future?
I think the moving forward and the healing and the restoration is now prevalent in my creativity. I am doing more writing and exploring the topics of relationships and toxicity. And it was recently published in Madamenoire magazine in terms of the red flags and it was basically for relationships in terms of a partnership, but it can apply to business or friendships. And we don't always make the best choices when we don't feel well about ourselves or about our life. So actually, my reflection on my relationships has created an opportunity for me to be more creative. And we are, as I speak, starting production again for Dr. Sarah After Dark TV. And we'll definitely continue that work I had to take a hiatus. I had to take care of me. And like you said, I just woke up one day and said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to tape a show. I don't want to comb my hair. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be me. And I'm so glad I took that break. And of course, the pandemic helped because it really gave us a chance to just really slow down. And my children and I are at the most peaceful place that we have been in so long. And we have still our responsibilities. They still have school and I still have work, but it's just our approach is so much different. And just me having the opportunity to put myself first and just love me instead of always waiting on someone and begging, please accept me, please love me, please just be my friend. I'm just nurturing and loving me. And if you just don't fit that agenda, if you don't fit that resume, if you don't fit that criteria that involves loving me and the me that I am now, then it's likely we're not going to have much contact.
Oh, well, I understand that one too, because I did a lot of unfollowing last year, left pages and groups and unsubscribed from the things. And it's so good. I did it yesterday. There was an individual and I was like, nope, don't want to hang out with that person. So that's, gone out of my life. And then I see this person on someone else's Zoom and I'm like, oh, no wonder the other person was niggling. I don't want to be their friend either, because you are the sum of the people you spend the most time with, including, the sum of their 5 people. And I was like, and it's so freeing to not ask for permission to do that. It's like, this isn't awesome. I did a very honest post on my Facebook feed the other day and lost 30 people off of my Facebook. And I was like, okay, that's good. I'm glad you guys are saving me the trouble of knowing who's lining up right now for me, who's, can hear my truth. And we don't have to necessarily agree on everything. I've had a great conversation with a gentleman who talked about the fact that he wishes we could do more conversations where we agree to disagree without having to cancel out the opinion of the other person. And I was like, oh, that is really good, because sometimes we feel the need to cancel out the other person. And he's like, I can have a thought and you can have a thought, and we can really come to a place of, I hear you. I don't agree with you, but I hear you. And it was a powerful moment that I laughed when I saw that. I was like, okay, more honesty coming up, because hey, I didn't have to delete those 30 people. They did it to themselves. And
They did it. It's like the trash taking itself out. That's the way I see it. It just attract when someone unfollows or blocks me. It's like, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. It makes me very happy. I was sharing again, and I mean, I'm a minimalist. I love being a minimalist. And I just love this whole concept of like getting rid of it. And people are like, well, but, and I'm like, no, like, let it go be free. It's anyway, well, I'm so glad to hear that things have really come so far for you. I'm glad your family and you are as tight as you guys are right now. I know that that's something I've experienced with my daughter as well. The slowing down. She'll say, Mommy, you don't have to work. I'm like, Mommy never had to work all the time. Mommy chose to work all the time because she was living in this scarcity mindset. And now I'm saying, no, this is first. And it's been a really neat transition.
Right. I'm in the mindset that if it doesn't bring me joy, if it doesn't bring me peace, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, there's no
I don't care what the pay is or who is requesting it, or do you know who that is, type of thing, or it could give you the next great opportunity. There are individuals that are placed in this world, and their assignment is to teach us who not to affiliate with.
Yeah. I've known a few of
That's
those.
their assignment. They are designed, they are designed to literally teach us who to avoid.
Hey, it's Candice. I hope you're really enjoying the show. I know I certainly am. I want to give a big shout out to one of the products that I absolutely love using. So this is 36-year-old skin, and I am in love with it. Yes, I am wearing a teeny tiny bit of foundation. I'm wearing a little bit of eyeshadow, but in general, I want to go like really, really close. This is my skin. Phenomenal, right? So I recently started using a product called Biocell. Biocell is liquid collagen. Now, there's a lot of buzz about collagen right now, but you want to find one that mirrors closest the human kind of collagen. I was super impressed with this particular collagen. This is made with only the sternums of chickens. So that's the, the sternum bone of chickens in a place that has already ethically and humanely taken care of these chickens. And so we're basically using a part of the chicken that would normally just disappear and be used for other things. I have not gotten into the collagen world before now, mostly because I know that a lot of the collagens out there, especially the powdered collagen, they have things like cow hooves and pig hooves and noses, and I just wasn't interested in putting that sort of thing in my body. I do try to live a more plant-based lifestyle. This is one of the few products that I allow to have animal in it, but I absolutely love it. I'm also really impressed with the company behind it. They're a values-driven company, and if you know from watching any of my shows, values matter to me. They've got a number of values. One, to be disruptive in the industry, and you know me, I like to be a little bit irreverent and go against the grain once in a while. I also really love that one of their values is humility and compassion, because those are huge and important to me. So if you're looking for a place to spend your money, and no, it's not an arm and a leg, no, it's not an MLM, this is affiliate marketing, which means if you did decide to purchase this product, yes, I would in fact get a small commission, which has nothing to do with your products or your purchase or the price point on the product, to be honest with you. It is simply 10 to 36% for me, depending on how many of this awesome product that I get a chance to move. Also, I'm paid daily, which I think is pretty amazing. So if you're somebody who's looking for some collagen and you just want to be your customer, I have got a $10 code. Drop a link or a comment below, or feel free to message me and I will share with you my link so that you can get $10 off of your first order. If you are somebody who's thinking, hey, I would like to get some product and also like to break into the affiliate game, that's a passion for me. I love teaching women and men, but mostly women, how to master the affiliate game. Once you learn how to do it with one company, you can do it with anything else. So I hope that you're enjoying the show. And without any further ado, back to the show. That's a very aha moment.
Literally.
Right there.
Yes. Yes. That's their thing, because you say, why did this happen? I liked her. And then you realize, no, I felt this before. I felt this thing before. I felt the sting of rejection, or I felt that toxicity, or I felt that either it's through backhand type of insults, or it's just plain jealousy, or it's just vindictiveness, or competitive something, right? You felt that, and it might even remind you of when you were 5 and you in the sandbox, and that mean girl threw sand in your eyes, and then she laughed, and maybe you laughed along because you didn't want to be the odd person out. Mm-hmm. And then you still do the same thing at 30 and 40 and 50.
Some of the people
it's just a different sandbox.
It's a different sandbox. Some of the people I've been learning to avoid and finally acknowledging, like giving a name to it, are the energy suckers, right? These people that just sort of seem to like latch on to whatever is the brightest and the boldest and like the person going places, and they won't give you the time of day. And so you're becoming a something, and then all of a sudden they're like, what are you up to? Like, nothing. Go back on your side of the fence. Like, peace out. And I think there was sort of this acknowledgement the other day that I was like, no, energy sucker, energy sucker, energy sucker. Not my tribe, not meant to be in my life right now. Again, like you say, people are like, well, how do you know? And I'm like, no peace. I don't want to hang out. So the answer is no. And it's been, yeah, I think I wish I had come to this conclusion before. And I mean, we do the best we can with what we have at the time. But I remember thinking when the pandemic originally shut us down the first time, there were people I suddenly had time to call. And I remember thinking, I am an entrepreneur. I say I designed my life so I had time for the things I loved. I really love that I have time to connect with people. And so as the world ramps up again, I would like to continue to create time for this. I also observed that some of the biggest, boldest, most beautiful, legitimately successful, grounded, abundant people are so free in how they give, whatever it is, time, effort, energy, expertise. Um, in writing this, writer editing and writing in this publication of mine, we ask the authors to, if they can, especially if they're using the publication to promote their businesses, share something financially with us, because it takes time, effort, and energy to get it out there. And we've also published when people had nothing to share because we said that's not the point, right? Like we'll get taken care of if we're doing the right thing for the right reasons. And then we've had some people who are significant in their influence, their impact, their success level, and they've written for us, no question. They're just like, here you go, enjoy it, use it, thank you so much. And others who have come back and said, do you know who I am? Why would I write for you? And I'm like, no, actually, I don't want you to write for me because of that attitude. And you missed the point. And that's been an incredible experience. Again, like the trash taking itself out, to be like, oh, okay, check. Not aligned with my vision. No problem. Thank you. And having the courage to say that when they say, I don't think I'm the right fit. And I'm going, I agree with you. And they're usually shocked at that. And that's felt really good to be able to say, probably for the
That's
first time.
freeing, right?
Right?
It's called boundaries.
Yeah. 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 Big time.
Totally. That's what they are. That's what they are for.
Mhm. So yeah, it's been a powerful experience. I think the last 6 months, I do feel like an entire year disappeared, which has been an interesting experience as well. Like, wait, did that happen last year? No, that was 2 years ago.
I know. I know. I'm like, where did 2020 go?
Like you and I were supposed to go to New York or something like that and do something fun. Like,
Yes,
we need to
I
do this.
thought about that. We at this point we would have been already planning the second trip to New York.
One.
We were
Yes.
supposed to be meeting in New York, and now
We're here.
we're here. But I'm still holding on to the hope
Mhm.
that we're going to reschedule our trip
Yes, we are.
and we are going to be in New York.
Yes.
But this time we got to just do so much more. It's got to be so much more crazy.
Yes.
We've definitely got to do this.
I
I
want
think that we are going to take this to the next level.
Agree. 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 Well, I always like to leave a little bit of space at the end of my podcast to say to my guests, is there anything you want to leave the listener with? Something we haven't discussed or a thought on your mind and your heart. And so I'd love to offer that opportunity to you right now as we sort of come to the end and wrap up.
Very similar to you, I'm a minimalist. And a lot of times the expectation is there's this grandiose bang ending statement with this great wisdom that you've never heard. And it's this simple: love yourself first. Everything else will fall into place. Once we really connect and accept and affirm and love ourselves. There are days now that I wake up and I'm happy. I feel joy. It's not because I have a great relationship or $1 million. It's just literally because I like myself. I am nowhere near the person that some misdirected folks try to make me out to be. I am kind, I am passionate, I am loving, I am giving, I'm generous, and I love myself. And I can say that, and I affirm myself daily. And because of that, I am feeling and I'm drawing and attracting people that also encourage that. And those are my words.
I love it. Thank you. I felt that. Thank you. Been asking myself a lot lately. If I loved myself, and then I pause, because I love myself, what am I doing with this today? Right? How am I tackling this challenge or putting this together? And it's been such a great reframe to just ask yourself those questions. And thank you so much for
You're so
leaving us
welcome.
with that thought today. So thank you. To my,
Absolutely.
yes, to my listeners, you know the drill. This is the part where I ask you to like, love, share, comment. If you got some value out of this, it's an amazing high five for us as creators to let us know that we're on track and that what we're doing is having an impact for you. And again, to my guest, I am so excited. I love, I'm going to be putting that on my board coming up for I'm already thinking about next year and planning, right? As I'm hoping we get to, travel again. And I've missed that.
I do
I've
too.
also
I
missed
do too.
hugs. Oh my goodness. I hugged a
Right.
friend I haven't hugged in probably a year the other day. And there was that hesitation. And then I just didn't want to let go. And I was like, you know what? I took hugs for granted. Though it's one of my love languages. And I thought, you know what? In the future, I'm just going to pause that one extra second longer and enjoy those minutes. So I'm looking forward to hugging you in New York City sooner
Yes.
than later. And I cannot wait to
Right. I
watch.
can't wait either.
I'm like, oh, this is good. I needed this revival today. Thank you so much for meeting me here today. And I look forward to continuing to connect, and it won't be so long this next time, I promise. We'll talk to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.